And now, runaway drama queens. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Well, they can run, but they cannot hide. And Texas Governor Greg Abbott dropping the hammer on Texas Democrats who fled the state. They're trying to block a Republican redistricting plan ahead of the midterms. There are consequences for dereliction of duty, he said just a few hours ago, announcing arrest warrants for all missing Democrats in the House there. Now, although Texas authorities, they don't reach beyond state boundaries, Abbott's making a key point. Democrats are the true threats to democracy. Unless they get the results they want, they're going to do everything in their power to undermine it. You heard it from Mike as we opened the show. On the national level, they did what they did against Trump, and now in Texas, they're doing what they're doing now. And I love how, just like the illegal aliens that they love, the Democrats love to protect them, these liberals in Texas fled to sanctuary jurisdictions. And get this, in one case, on a private jet to Chicago. And it was like watching really bad summer stock theater.
We will not relent to an authoritarian president that wants to steal and racially gerrymander our black and brown districts.
This extraordinary set of a quorum break is so that your voices can be heard.
This is the destruction of America and the destruction of value of our vote. So you see me? Look at here. Bye. I'm out, but I'm here for you.
I'm here for you as I leave for Chicago. But come on, what courage, what sacrifice.
This is the last tool that we have to stop Trump. If politicians can simply stop listening to their people, it's over. Our democracy, everything that America stands for, will be gone.
They're going to inspire other people who have been wanting to see Democrats stand and fight, because this comes at great personal risk to them.
Our Texas state legislators are courageous in fighting the Trump map.
I hope that Texas Democrats taking this heroic step inspires more heroism, and that courage will inspire more courage.
Okay, courage. This is not Selma, all right? This isn't the March on Washington. This is a taxpayer-funded retreat with better catering. But look, this is all the Democrats have: stunts, play acting, and tantrums for TikTok. Now, a few months ago, they had their anti-Doge tantrums outside the Department of Education and USAID. Then came the scuffles with security outside ICE detention facilities in places like New Jersey. It was all political theater. Then there was Senator Alex Padilla's Emmy Award-winning role of crashing DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's press conference. And now, the Texas Democrats.
Listen, Donald Trump is a piece of shit. Okay, we know that. Yes, he is. But in a functioning democracy, he still would not be able to get away with this.
Meanwhile, Democrats' host in Chicago, Governor J.B. Pritzker, is playing the role of kind of the godfather here, lending a hand with messaging.
Texas Democrats were left no choice but to leave their home state, block a vote from taking place, and protect their constituents. This is a righteous act of courage.
So, from one failed leader to another. I mean, this is all they have. Getting in on the Texas Democrats Act is easier for Pritzker than solving his state's problems. Of course, all caused by liberal leadership, including the fact that, oh, sorry, JB, though, 262,000 people have fled Illinois since he took office. And for those Texas Dems who wanted to go a little further east, well, New York Governor Kathy Hochul, her state's doing wonderfully, was ready to take them all in.
I cannot stand by and let this happen while Donald Trump and his co-conspirator, Greg Abbott, erode our democracy and drag us toward authoritarianism. This is a war. We are at war. And that's why the gloves are off, and I say, bring it on.
We're at war, huh? Imagine if the Republicans were using that language so casually. But this isn't a new stunt from the Democrats. They tried it all back in 2021. Back then, Democrats fled the state to stop an election reform bill. Governor Greg Abbott simply called another special session, and the bill passed anyway. But the voters don't really want political escapism, do they? Because they know they deserve serious leadership, and they're getting it from Trump and red state governors who are getting the job done. So to all those Democrats jet-setting across state lines, enjoy the room service, because when you return, you'll be right back where you left off, out of power, out of moves, and out of excuses. And that's the angle.
The Messiah told Democrats to toughen up. And what did they do? They ran away.
If you're seeing this video, my Democratic colleagues and I have just left our beloved state to break quorum and stop Trump's redistricting power grab.
It is 2025. We are breaking quorum.
It's time to keep making good trouble. Thank you all for your prayers. We're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to speak the truth of power, doing everything it takes to save and protect our democracy.
We didn't start this fight. Donald Trump started it. So you see me? Look at here. Bye.
Democrats in Texas fled their state yesterday because they claim Trump's going to steal the midterms. They had a private jet pick them up in Austin. The charter's an E-170 with leather seating and runs about $15,000 an hour. Who paid for it? We don't know. But we do know where it went. Illinois. Governor J.B. Back Ribs Pritzker gave them a big old bear hug in Chicago and declared it a sanctuary city for fleabaggers. J.B. Back's giving them logistical support. Not sure what that means, but sources say free hotel rooms and meals. The Texas refugees say they had to run because Republicans wouldn't listen.
We really didn't have a choice. We tried to negotiate with Republicans. We tried to talk to them. We tried to reason with them. We tried to tell them that the public is very angry at what they're doing, and they simply wouldn't listen.
This smells like a vacation. Texas is hot in August, high 90s all week. With humidity, it feels like 100. So they hop on a plane and check into a Hyatt in Chicago. We were in Chicago last August for the convention. It is beautiful. Nice breeze comes off the lake. They're not working. They're just sitting around doing CNN hits. One guy says he's the victim.
As a state representative, I get paid about $600 a month before taxes. And so that's not much to live off of. And so many of my colleagues, including myself, we have day jobs that help us pay the bills. And by breaking quorum, we are leaving those day jobs behind. We are sacrificing the income that we need to make ends meet.
Like Kanye said, how are you going to be mad on vacation? Over 50 Democrats quit their jobs, left their friends, voters, family behind to go glamping at Fort J.B. Back. They're acting like they were drafted.
This is a war. We are at war. And that's why the gloves are off, and I say, bring it on.
Texas is redistricting, so Democrats might lose a few congressional seats. Doesn't sound like war to me. Shooting Trump and arresting him, that was a lot more warlike. And did Trump run away? No. If Texas is a war zone, why are Democrats abandoning their brothers and sisters? Texas isn't actually a war zone. Democrats just ran out of the state house and won't do their jobs, so now no one in the state house can do their job. Texas Governor Greg Abbott's been riding their bumpers, told them to get back to work or else.
The reports are these legislators have been both, they sought money and they offered money to skip the vote, to leave the legislature, to take a legislative act. That would be bribery. They face a possibility of facing bribery charges, which is a second-degree felony in the state of Texas. There's one way to cure that, and that is if they get back to the state of Texas and make quorum today at a hearing that we have at 3 o'clock.
Democrats had until 3 to show, and they didn't. So Governor Abbott's sending out a posse to arrest them for dereliction of duty and drag them back to the Capitol. They told us no one is above the law. And if they resist, the posse is going to hand them to Homan, and they'll wind up in El Salvador with the Maryland dad. Jazzy Crockett, who fled D.C. during the pandemic with a cohort of fleabaggers because Republicans were about to pass voter ID, may actually lose her seat to redistricting. And guess who she blames?
Because the Supreme Court has paved the way for half the stuff that we see that's going on. Listen, Donald Trump is a piece of shit. Okay, we know that. Yes, yes. He is. He is. He is.
A part of me feels what's good for the goose is good for the gander. But I'd also like to keep Crockett in Congress because she's such a delicious foil. And so what if Texas is redistricting? So what? Their state constitution gives them the legal right to. Democrats have been trying to redistrict Texas by letting millions of migrants break in. They've been trying to turn Texas blue illegally. Both parties gerrymander a little bit. But look at the state where Democrats fled to, the gerrymandering capital of the world, Illinois. They just play connect the dots with blue cities. That map looks like Jesse Jr. drew it. That one district, the squiggly one down there, the blue one, that looks like an earthworm on LSD. And look at one of the Texas districts that Democrats are running away from. They basically drew a highway between Houston and Austin. Even the media is calling them hypocrites.
Do you believe it's hypocritical for Democrats to deploy the same strategy that they're criticizing by Republicans in Texas?
Well, first of all, let's understand why Donald Trump is asking for 5 more Republican seats out of Texas. It's because his policies, especially his economic policies, have been so bad.
Dodge. The American people don't even know the word gerrymander, and they don't care. They just want politicians to show up to work. Democrats never ran away from their job when you lost money, you lost your home, or God forbid your daughter lost her life. They're running away when they might lose power. They're admitting that a blue wave's not coming. It's more like a blue trickle. So they're running, hiding, and throwing a tantrum like my daughter Gigi does when she doesn't get her way. And every parent knows you can't give in, even when your children start breaking stuff.
It was everything I could have ever dreamed and hoped for.
What were you thinking about when you were smashing? What did you smash?
The patriarchy.
What were you smashing the anger out for today?
Everything, you know, like our rights being taken away slowly but surely.
Many trans friends that are afraid to even walk outside.
You, Trump! You!
That's where I'm at. A smash room. Democrats can't even figure that out. They're just raging out, but it doesn't hit because of their history.
The Democrats saying anything's a threat to democracy is wild when they haven't had a primary since 2012. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's really wild. I mean, they kicked Bernie out. They made sure RFK Jr. wasn't in. And then when it came time for Kamala to run, no primary at all. They just put her in position.
Even rank-and-file Democrats are waking up and realizing their party doesn't represent them. It only represents the party machine.
I'm registered Democrat, but I hate my party. I haven't voted for a Democrat really in the elections in quite a while. And yes, I voted a Republican many times because I like the policies better. Democrats have had terrible policies, and now we have the rise of the so-called progressives. They're really regressives.
They need to show more interest in working people instead of saying they're for working people.
If Democrats don't like the way they're losing power in Texas, the way to get it back isn't by running away. It's by running their cities better. Democrats should look at what DeSantis and Florida Republicans did. His policies made Florida so attractive, everyone moved there. And it boosted the party's power. Or Democrats could push popular policies that persuade people to come over to their side. Real men don't run away in a crisis. They listen, strategize, and debate. They lead. Running away is not normal.
Democrats have developed this sort of like cult-like idea of what everyone should accept and what's normal and what's not normal. And it's just like, damn, you're ruining it for everybody that thinks in a left way.
And welcome to Hannity. And tonight we start with a Fox News alert. Tonight, justice is coming. Fox News has now confirmed a federal grand jury has now been launched at the DOJ to pursue possible criminal charges related to the Russia hoax. Now, keep in mind, grand juries are conducted in secret, so we don't know what the charges are that are on the table, and these charges are what they're against. But if I were a deep state actor, You know the names. I would be deeply concerned. We have more on this major development. That's straight ahead. Also, our buddy, the one and only Stephen A. Smith, will join us to respond to the former First Lady of our country, Michelle Obama. Take a look.
You know, I mean, Stephen A. Smith, he's just like every other
he'd
talk
be a
show
great
host.
Real Housewife.
He would be.
Right.
Right?
It would be amazing.
So that's why I'm like, what's the difference?
What's the difference? We'll lay it out. Stephen A. is here. He will respond in a minute. We'll also check in on the current state of the Democratic Party, which is now being praised by, well, mask-wearing New York City radical, communist, socialist, statist, Marxist. Take a look.
He collaborated with the Zohran Mamdani campaign on his trans rights platform. And what we explicitly wanted to do was use the power of New York City to provide free gender-affirming care.
Free gender-affirming care to minors. Who cares? I don't know. The latest on the rise of Marxist Mamdani is now moments away, but we begin with another Fox News alert tonight. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who will join us in a moment, has now issued arrest warrants for Democratic state legislators who fled Austin in order to prevent a quorum and delay a vote on the state's brand new redistricting proposal. Let us be clear here. He's elected Democrats. They're wasting valuable taxpayer money and time for yet another stage political stunt that will ultimately change nothing. Texas will redraw its districts. Republicans will gain seats in the House. This is, typical, predictable, performative art from Democrats, and another dramatic plea for attention, another desperate smear against President Trump as well. Take a look.
Democrats are going to respond from coast to coast and at all points in between to this effort to steal the midterm elections.
The tool they're using is a racist, gerrymandered map.
It's starting in Texas, but if this happens, all Americans will suffer.
If Republicans are willing to rewrite these rules to give themselves an advantage, then they're leaving us no choice. We must do the same.
I'm telling you right now, we need to win in the midterm. We need to stop him from cheating, from lying, and from stealing the election. And if they're doing something to add their congressional seats, we need to look at our ways of doing that right now.
All bets are off when the cult leader and would-be dictator of the United States tells Texas to midstream change the game when they know that they're going to lose in 2026. All bets are off.
All bets are off. One huge problem for the Democratic Party. It's called the truth. Look at even the New York Times pointing out Democrats have few tools to counter GOP redistricting because, quote, states where Democrats would have complete control over any redistricting, such are already gerrymandered heavily in their favor. Let me translate that for you. In other words, Democrats, they have been doing this in blue states forever, and only now Republicans are acting in kind and fighting back. That includes, by the way, the state of New York, the state of Illinois. In Illinois, for example, for whatever reason, Texas Democrats fled in order to delay a vote on redistricting and protest the horrible act of gerrymandering, which they have been doing forever. Of course, Illinois has a long history. It's been one of the most gerrymandered states in the country. Let me give you an example. 2024, Donald Trump, he got 44% of the vote in Illinois. Not bad considering most people with common sense in Illinois got out and left, and Republicans won 47% of statewide the House vote, but they only have 18% of the House seats. Why? Because of gerrymandering. Take a look at this map. Because of the way it was drawn by Democrats, only 3 out of the state's 17 House seats are controlled by Republicans. And it's not just Illinois. Most states under Democratic rule look exactly like that. In Maryland, for example, Republicans have just 1 seat while garnering 35% of the vote. In Massachusetts, Donald Trump got 36% of the vote. Republicans won 0 seats. Not 1, representing the 36% of Republicans in that state. Republicans also won 0 seats in Connecticut, despite winning 40% of the vote. And get this, in the state of Nevada, a state that favored Republicans by a whopping 10 points, and a state that Donald Trump won in 2024, Democrats somehow won every single House race except for one. Why? Gerrymandering. And we can go on and on and on. In fact, in 2024, Republicans won the nationwide vote by more than 2 points and lost 2 seats because of gerrymandering. And yet Democrats are now suddenly up in arms about redistricting. As you can see, they are not offended by the practice of gerrymandering. Again, this is all one big, meaningless political stunt with a bunch of slogans thrown in, and, of course, the word racist on top of it, in order to raise money, get attention, trash President Trump by phony hypocrites that have mastered the policies of gerrymandering. Everyone say it at home. But that is the current state of the party. You are either a complete radical calling for a socialist Marxist revolution, or you spend your day completely, doing worthless stunts, performative art. Meanwhile, even fake news CNN, they have finally come to grips with reality, calling Trump the most influential president of the century. Take a look.
Donald Trump administration is arguably the most influential this century, and probably as well dating back a good portion of the last century as well. Love it, like it, lump it. Trump is remaking in the United States of America. Let's talk about tariffs first, right? There's all this talk that Donald Trump always chickens out when it comes to tariffs. No tacos for Trump. The effective tariff rate, get this, it's 18%, but it's not just on tariffs, which of course Donald Trump ran on, in which you're seeing a tremendously influential presidency. What about immigration? Of course, Trump ran and has always run on a very hawkish immigration platform. Get this, 2025 net migration in the United States down at least 60% from last year.
Love it, like it, lump it. In just 6 months, President Trump is getting huge things, consequential, transformational things accomplished, and the Democrats, they're falling apart. They're infighting. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.